Hey, welcome to week 7 of Get a Grip. And once again, hearing great things that are happening in your small groups, or what we like to call circles. And this past week, we talked about getting a grip on God's saving grace. Now, here's the deal. Before I kind of leave you with a thought or a question that maybe you can kind of start with, I want to maybe challenge some of you maybe to think maybe differently than you've ever thought before. One of the things that we value at Big Valley Grace is what is happening right now in your group. We value circles. And the only way we can get more people into circles is we have to have more people who are willing to open their homes and say, I'll invite a circle of people into my home. Or people who would say, you know what, I'd like to lead a group. I'd like to be the facilitator of a group. And I know that some of you probably aren't in a place in your walk with the Lord yet where you could be a facilitator, but I also know that there are many of you, and you're in a group right now, and you love your group, and you like your group or whatever, and it's really great. But the greater need is that you would call the church, call Pastor Dan Howard, and say, you know what, I love my group, I love my circle, but I think it's time for me to actually lead a group. And I know it's a scary thing, and it's kind of a bummer because you have all these friends that you've made, you enjoy your circle and all of that, and that's okay, that's supposed to happen. But we have a need for some leaders, some people who would facilitate other groups. And so I just want to challenge you to be thinking about that. Maybe that's you and your spouse, maybe that's your home. I don't know what it is, but would you take some time maybe this week and pray? And if you sense that maybe you're supposed to do that, give Dan Howard a call. And his number is going to come up there on the video, I think, and just say, hey, I think I'm supposed to do this. Now, by calling Dan, that doesn't mean you're locked in. It just means you want to have a dialogue with him about how you might be able to be used. Okay? Okay, so like I said, this past week, we kind of zeroed in on God's grace, His saving grace, getting a handle on that. And unfortunately, too many Christians don't really understand how beautiful the grace of God is. That God simply saves you. His grace is poured out on you. It's just a gift, and He offers it to you. Now, that gift doesn't do any good if you don't receive that gift by faith. And we talked a lot about that this past weekend. What I want you to dialogue about is this. What should our response be to the fact that God so loved us and so cared about us that He offered salvation to us for free, that He came and lived an incredible life and died a horrible death for us, and that our salvation is just a free gift that He's given us. And the first thing I talked about was you can show your gratitude to God for His saving grace by making your one life count. And maybe the first question that you might dialogue about with, as a small group or as a circle is how can your one life show gratitude to God? What are some specific ways that you can live a life that demonstrates how grateful you are for this incredible gift of God's grace to you? Okay, let me pray for you. Father, thank you for your goodness to us. And I'm thankful, God, for your amazing grace. This free gift of grace that you offer to everybody. And I know that most people in their small groups and in the circles have received that gift. They've taken that gift and opened that gift, and by faith, they have received you into their life. But there might be one or two, I don't know, maybe even in this circle right here, God. And though you have offered this gift of grace. They've never received it. Never. And Lord, maybe right now, in this moment, there's somebody in that circle right now who wants to receive, by faith, the gift of saving grace. And so while everybody's eyes are closed in that circle, if you're there and you've never given your life to Christ, you've never opened your life up to the Lord, you've never received that free gift of saving grace, right now, just in the quietness of the moment, just repeat this prayer. Just repeat it in your heart and really mean it. Just say, "Dear Jesus, I am right now receiving your free gift of grace in my life. Come into my life, cleanse me of my sin. I surrender my life to you. Today I want to become one of your followers." Now, while your eyes are all closed, if you prayed that, let me challenge you to do something. Maybe before your circle's over with, or maybe, before you walk out the door and go home, would you tell your small group leader? Just say, "I want you to know I prayed that prayer with Pastor Rick on the video." And they just want to rejoice with you, maybe put into your hands some materials that'll help you understand a little bit more about what it means to be a follower of Jesus or whatever. But make sure you do that, okay? Don't keep it a secret. Lord, thank you for those that prayed. Thank you for this time, and I ask these things in your name. Amen. Blessings.